Right now on KREM 2 News at noon, police zero in on the search for the man charged with killing his 3 little girls.
And our temperatures have started to cool off a bit today. We'll show you not only the temperature trend, but also how strong the winds will be for parts of the inland Northwest.
Plus, with troops deployed to protest in Los Angeles, President Trump says there could be more. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here on KREM 2 News at noon. I'm Laura Papetti, and we do begin by talking about the weather. You may notice it's a little bit cooler out there today. Still warm, certainly, throughout the region. Meteorologist Thomas Patrick, he is in the KREM 2 Outdoor Weather Center. Thomas, what's the word? What can we expect later today?
Yeah, there's no 90s in the forecast for the Spokane area. In fact, with the cloud cover just streaming overhead, actually does feel quite a bit cooler than it did at this point yesterday. But that cloud cover is coming from somewhere, and there is a disturbance that was passing through eastern Oregon this morning, and it's just clipping some of our southern areas of the inland Northwest. So I am going to start to introduce a bit more of a rain chance for this region because, well, that is where the rain is not only falling, but even rumbling with some thunderstorms through Idaho County in Idaho. That's actually moving towards Grangeville. So for our southernmost viewers, like in Grangeville, Kamei, Orofino, and even Lewiston, you're bound to get probably a little bit of rain. Pullman and Moscow, you're right on kind of the northern extent of this. If you go any farther to the north, you are not going to get any rainfall. So again, Spokane is not going to get rain today. You almost got to be in Lewiston and southward from there to really receive any kind of storm system. But look at this. It is a bit cooler in that region, just in the 70s and even 60s still in the Palouse versus 76 here in Spokane with just some cloud cover streaming overhead. But additionally, we're watching the winds overall because there are red flag warnings for central Washington. Wind speeds up to 30 miles per hour for today. But coming up, I'll show you how many days we'll be forecasting at minimum breezy conditions across our region. So we'll have the latest on that extended forecast coming up.
This is coming in new at noon. We are learning more about a deadly shooting in Kettle Falls that happened last night. Police say it began when a man identified as Joshua West fired at another person. Neighbors then tried to de-escalate the situation, but say when they couldn't, they shot and killed him. Police say West was involved in a disturbance at a restaurant about a half an hour before the shooting. Also, the Spokane County Sheriff's deputies are investigating after a body was found in the Spokane River this morning. Firefighters recovered the body near the Upriver Dam area north of Felts Field. The Sheriff's Office says the body appears to have been in the water for quite some time. The medical examiner is working to identify the person along with the cause of death. And the Grant County Sheriff's Office is investigating after a farm worker was found dead in an irrigation canal. Deputies were searching for the man after he didn't return from his daily work yesterday. At this point, deputies say evidence suggests that certainly the man got into the canal, but they're not sure why he did so. And right now, investigators believe they are closing in on the man accused of killing his 3 young daughters. They believe that Travis Decker is indeed alive after a possible sighting of him in the backcountry of the Enchantments. Drew Andre is in Chelan County with a look at that search.
That group of hikers saw a man who they didn't think was prepared for the conditions or the trail, so they reported that to authorities, who then immediately got a helicopter up in the air, and they believe they spotted someone that matched that description, who then ran. So that's where we are in this search. Right now, we are just off of Highway 97, where we know yesterday law enforcement was using this rest stop here as a little rest area for them. Today, they haven't been in this exact area. On the ground yesterday, we spotted King County's helicopter circling this area. They were even dropping down law enforcement to the tough-to-get terrain. Now, this is a mix of law enforcement from around the state, like King and Snohomish counties, and federal authorities like the U.S. Marshals. Heavily armed officers piled into trucks. We even saw them take out an ATV at one point. Law enforcement says canines have been used to track Decker's scent. Yesterday, I spoke to a couple visiting from Squim who was renting a cabin in this area where the be on the lookout notices were sent to their phones.
Well, that wasn't exactly our idea of our vacation. It was kind of unsettling. Plus, you didn't want to be out here if it was dark. You didn't want to be walking around. You don't know what's going to happen.
The area of the search here off Highway 97 near Ingalls Creek is about 15 miles if you took a direct shot from the campground where the 3 sisters' bodies were found. It is backcountry terrain with a lot of different trails and directions to go. A major concern in the search for Decker is his past as a U.S. Army Ranger, and law enforcement says he is a skilled outdoorsman. For now, I'm Drew Andre, King 5 News.
All right, so we continue, of course, to track this story. We do expect to get an update on the search from the Chelan County Sheriff and U.S. Marshal's Office at a press conference scheduled for this afternoon at 4 o'clock. We'll be bringing you that press conference live on KREM 2 News at 4. You can also watch it streaming on KREM 2 Plus. KREM 2 Plus is free to download and watch on your TV. A curfew has gone into effect in part of downtown Los Angeles amid protests against immigration crackdowns. The development comes just days after President Trump mobilized National Guard troops and Marines. Now President Trump says his deployment in Los Angeles could be just the beginning. Natalie Brand has his warning for other cities.
President Trump is defending his decision to deploy the National Guard and Marines to Los Angeles in response to protests over ICE raids.
It can only go right by having the military. It de-escalates. I mean, that was the only way.
The administration says the troops are providing protection for federal law enforcement and federal buildings.
Law enforcement, they need to have their hands untied where they can do their jobs.
Under federal law, active duty military cannot be used for domestic law enforcement purposes unless the president invokes the Insurrection Act. So far, he has not done that.
We're hoping it's going to get under control. We hope the curfew will work, and we're going to continue to do everything we can to keep California safe.
With protests popping up in more cities and more demonstrations planned for this weekend, coinciding with a military parade in Washington, D.C. for the Army's 250th birthday, President Trump had this warning.
For those people that want to protest, they're going to be met with very big force.
This is really authoritarian.
Former Republican Senator Chuck Hagel, who also served as defense secretary in the Obama administration, is concerned about politicizing the military.
That's what our senior officers are worried about and will continue to worry about as to how the president further intends to use the military against American citizens.
President Trump also announced at Fort Bragg Tuesday he is restoring the names of 7 Army bases originally named for Confederate military figures. Congress had ordered those name changes, which were completed under President Biden. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.